Hi there everyone, Marc Laurenson here from Sydney Astrology School. And what I'd like to do is give you a very short lesson on how this upcoming lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Taurus, how it could actually play out in somebody's birth chart. Now this is going to be very similar to what I'll be doing in my mini course for Synchronicity University starting on November the 2nd, and only $5 per class. But I'll give you all the information and details about that at the end of the clip. Okay, so let's have a look at the chart in question. So here it is. This is a random chart. So it is a random chart for a person born on the 10th of June 1977 at 3:25 in the afternoon, 3:25 p.m. in Los Angeles, born in Los Angeles. Okay, so the lunar eclipse is happening on the 28th of October this year. It'll be the 29th in other parts of the world, like Australia, which is always a day ahead. Okay, so let's have a look at it in the chart, the actual chart itself. Now, the middle wheel here is the person's birth chart. Okay, and the outer wheel are the transits of the eclipse on the eclipse day, of course. So here we have the eclipse going right across the 7th and the 1st house axis here. Okay, so a lunar eclipse is always a full moon. Always. It can't be anything else. A solar eclipse is going to be a new moon. Okay, so when you're looking at a lunar eclipse, you're mainly going to be focused on the moon over here. And there it is at 5 degrees of Taurus. So that's the actual eclipse degree. Okay, the sun is directly opposite at 5 degrees of Scorpio. Okay, how do we know that it's an eclipse? If you have a new moon or a full moon and you want to know if it's an eclipse, they have to be within 18 degrees of the lunar nodes. If the full moon or the new moon is within 18 degrees of the transiting lunar nodes, then it's going to be an eclipse. And so there are the transiting lunar nodes in Libra Aries, okay, at 24 of Libra Aries. So there's the eclipse degree at 5 degrees Taurus. So that's what, 11 degrees away from the actual eclipse. So it tells you that that's an eclipse because of the nodes being so close to the full moon. Okay, so let's have a little look at what's going on as far as how it's affecting this particular chart. Now it's going across the 7th and the 1st axis, the 1st 7th. Okay, so this is the I-thou axis. This is the axis of who I am over here and how I relate over here, other people, and how I get on with others and how I share with others. The 7th house, it's a relationship house. Okay, so the sun and the moon are going across this axis, and the moon is in the relationship house. The moon is in the 7th house. This is the eclipse moon. Okay, so I want to say the eclipse, when you have a lunar eclipse being a full moon, something is coming to fruition here. Something's coming to the pointy end at a lunar eclipse. Okay, everything has mounted up here. And so it has come to a head or a climax of sorts in this person's 7th house, in their relationship house. So their relationships are going to get affected. You know, not just their personal relationships, but all their relationships, all the one-on-ones they have in their life are going to get affected. Now, an eclipse can last, the effect of an eclipse, the energy of an eclipse can last up to a year, sometimes a little bit longer. So therefore, this whole year, this person is going to be focused on some major changes happening in the area of their relationships. Now, again, you've got to keep on reminding yourself that we are learning along the way. We are learning about ourselves and we are learning about life and we are learning through experience. So the experience that's happening for this person is teaching them something, okay? We've always got to remember that. We've always got to pull ourselves back to that. Otherwise, we become those old-fashioned kind of predictive astrologers, which, you know, when it all boils down, aren't that helpful because people come to us in a way to be guided. And so this eclipse happening in the seventh house is actually saying that I want to say decisions have to be made. Major choices have to be made here around how you deal with people, how you get affected by people, how you respond to people. This is going to be really big for this person this year because of this eclipse. Okay. Now look at the planets that are involved and also the planet that's involved in the opposition to the eclipse, opposition to the moon. So we have Mars, we have Venus, and we have Chiron, all in a very tight stellium here. Okay. All, being hit by the eclipse moon within 1 degree. Okay. On the other side of the chart, we have Uranus. It is the most freedom-oriented planet. It's quite a radical planet. And so this planet in the first house has a lot to say about what's going on over here in the seventh house. Okay. So as I said, this person is dealing with relationship, and I will talk about the 3 planets involved in a sec. But over on the other side of the chart, they are kind of reinventing a new version of themselves at the same time, okay? Because their Uranus is being hit. So Uranus is always going to be about a sense of this person living authentically, a sense of this person living into their true self, their real self, to break free from the ties that bind, to break free from conditioning, and to more than anything else, to break free from what other people expect of them. That's a really, really big thing, particularly in this chart, okay? So over here we have these 3 planets that are getting affected by the eclipse. So the eclipse is bringing these 3 planets to a head, and what I want to say, something needs to change here, okay? So we have Mars and Venus connected, and then we have Chiron. Now they're all very, very different in their energies, but they're all singing from the same hymn sheet here in Taurus. Okay, so Taurus is always going to be about security and safety. And Taurus is a beautiful sign. It's a very sensual sign. It's a sign of being able to, in some kind of way, find a way of being able to locate your value or locate your worth and your gifts and be able to do something with them, use them. That's very, very Taurus. But again, if you're not doing that, what Taurus tends to do is that it tends to become very needy. Okay. So in the 7th house, you're going to become very needy. If you're, as I said, if you're not playing your Taurus energy well, you're going to become very needy and expect other people to give you what you need. You're going to expect other people to make you feel safe. You're going to expect other people to make you feel valued. You're going to expect other people to make you feel worthwhile. Okay. And until you learn that you have it, that you already have it, that you are valuable and you have got gifts and talents, you'll always be in a situation where you're looking at it, looking for it to other people. And a lot of the time you're not going to be getting it. So, you're going to be feeling quite frustrated around this. Now, Mars puts all the energy into this. Mars is the get up and go planet. It's the planet that, is full of adrenaline. And so really Mars in the 7th house is being able to stand up for yourself, to be able to be strong, to still be able to be independent in all your relationships as well. But if it's not working terribly well, Mars will put its energy, Mars will put its whole need to get what it wants into relationship. I want the relationship. I want the relationship to make me feel good. I want the relationship to give me the money I need. All that kind of stuff could actually, again, go into getting what it needs out of the relationship rather than actually owning who it is. Mars is owning who it is and owning its value and owning its security and then going from there. Now, Venus is in its own sign. It's the goddess of love in its own sign. And so, again, we have a part of her chart that's very, very beautiful. Venus in Taurus can be very, very beautiful, but it can also go down a very, very needy road. It's that feeling of, I want to feel beautiful. I want to feel loved. So therefore, I'll go into a relationship looking for that. I'll go into a relationship needing the romance in my life and keeping my fingers crossed that this other person is going to give me all that my Venusian needs. is going to make me feel beautiful. It's going to make me feel safe. It's going to make me feel secure. Again, this goes down a road of giving yourself away. This goes down a road of giving your value away. This goes down a road of you kind of like eroding a sense of your worth for what you believe somebody else could give you. So again, you have to be careful of this. There's Chiron. Chiron is saying to me that you have a wound. You have a wound here. You have a wound around feeling safe. You have a wound around security and self-worth and self-value, particularly with other people. And you need to be able to turn it around. You need to be able to, in your own way, you need to be able to find a way of becoming the teacher and healer of this particular wound. So therefore, you can actually be there for people. You can be a helper for people. You can be a guider for people. Taurus is very sensual, and Taurus can be very artistic. It can be very creative. It could actually be really good with the hands and the more, the more material arts. So there could be something in the Taurus, the beautiful Taurus talent that can actually be used in this area to help other people as well. Getting getting grounded is another way of being able to help people. Then you could be able to be a conduit for making other people feel safe and other people feel secure. Okay. But if you're not doing any of these in a way that's going to be beneficial for you, and that's going to be helping you, it's going to go down the road of trying to find all of this, as I said, in other people. And that's basically a dead end street because because it's not going to be there. It's all worked out that what you need and what you're after and the things you're chasing, if you're having to learn something from it, aren't going to be there for you because you're having to learn something very, very different. Now, the big thing is on the other side here. Here we have Uranus. Now, here are two planets that are just transiting on that day. They are very quick moving planets. They're going to be gone very soon after that. But on that day, they were very, very close to Uranus. So we also have Mars in Scorpio over here, and we have Mercury in Scorpio as well. So Uranus is really, really, I want to say, really wanting her so much to come into her place of owning who she truly is. Boots and all. That feeling of this is the way I come. This is who I am. And a feeling of I really need to be able to, again, with the Taurus energy, feel safe and secure and comfortable with who I am. So the eclipse, and I'll get to the Mars and the Mercury in a sec. So the eclipse is bringing everything to a head for this person, basically around the big changes that are needing with her sense of security and her sense of safety and her sense of value with other people on all levels, and now coming into a brand new, more free, more real, more authentic version of herself over here. Okay. So on that particular day, Mars and Mercury were there in Scorpio. So there's a depth to this. She might have to go right down into the truth of who she is. She might have to dig up a few things. Mercury's into that. In Scorpio, Mercury wants to go down and discover a few things. Maybe some truth needs to come out. Mercury's very much about the communication side of things. So maybe there might be something to do with people sitting down and talking about a lot of stuff that they don't generally talk about deep down. Mars is always going to be about your bravery again in Scorpio. You have to be brave enough to do this. She has to be brave enough to go down there. And this is very much for her to come out the other side of this and actually feel stronger, actually feel more independent, actually feel more like she can take on life, actually feel more like she's her own person than ever before. Okay. So that's the Mars and the Mercury on the other side of the eclipse moon as well. So I want to say this particular year for this person with the eclipse happening right across the seventh and first house will be a big year of her, I want to say, coming into her own, actually starting to discover who she truly is, actually starting to as I said earlier on, reinvent herself, become a new version of herself, free up, be able to untie herself from the entanglements she might have with other people and everything she needs from other people. There will be a change in the dynamic of her relationships, of all her relationships, not just her personal ones. And if you want to bring another planet into this, you can actually bring in Saturn as well, because Saturn is going to be in a very wide T-square. Can everyone see that? It's in a wide T-square. So everything that's going on here, all the stuff that I've talked about, is also going to be part of, or going to be an extension of the Saturn energy up here in the 10th house. So the changes happening to her via relationship and via people and via who she is will actually, well, it's what it's trying to do. It's actually trying to strengthen her, give her more authority, give her more control in Leo, in her world, in her work out there in the world. When you become stronger as a person, when you become more secure as a person, when you feel good about yourself and feel worthwhile and feel valuable as a person, of course that's going to help you out there in the world. You know, your role in the world and stepping out there in the world and becoming the person you want to be in the world career-wise is going to be helped big time by what's going on with the lunar eclipse going right across this particular axis. Is going to be, I want to say, a major part of her being able to strengthen herself in all areas of her public world. So when you look at the eclipse, when you're looking at the lunar eclipse at 5 degrees of Taurus, and it's making an impact in your chart in some kind of way, then sit down with it just for a minute and realize that there is something Taurus, there is something about your sense of value, your sense of worth, your sense of security, your sense of feeling safe, your sense of feeling grounded, and what's going on with that as far as the changes that need to be made, because the full moon, as I said, has climaxed. It has hit a point in your life and in your chart where something's got to give, something's got to happen. Okay, so it's really, really important to locate what that could be very truthful with yourself, for sure, and then be able to turn it around to be able to make the most of what that is. Okay, so that's a very, very brief mini lesson on how an eclipse can play out in a chart, in a natal chart. Now, I am doing a mini course for Synchronicity University. It starts on November the 2nd, November the 3rd in Australia, and it will be on the soul's healing, soul's mission, and healing will be involved as well, the soul mission through forecasting. So I'll be doing something very similar with transits and progressions and solar arcs, and I'll be taking you through how to understand them more on a much deeper, much more esoteric kind of level, but still very, very human, very earth-based, and what we have to go through here on the earth plane as well, of course. So it's only $5. Can you believe that? Can you believe that price? That's only $5 a lesson, but that's lasting only until October the 31st. Okay, so make sure you sign up for that before October the 31st. Just go to synchronicityuniversity.com and all the details and the registration is there. Okay, so thank you everybody, and hopefully I'll see you at the mini course.